You snoozed twice this morning, spilled your coffee once, and you've already blamed last night's referee for your morning mood.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's time to embrace the chaos and step into the madness.
Bro, you about to see a side of me you didn't even know existed.
Featuring guests who are over-caffeinated and less reasonable than the average person.
Man, I think it's just ridiculous.
Come on, man. Are you serious? Ugh.
Fans, where else would you rather be than right here, right now? Welcome to the show.
So buckle up. It's time for hot takes and hot mics. This is the Morning Rant, where the only thing more unpredictable is Dave before his third cup of coffee.
I just felt like running.
On WPGY, the Sports Pig.
What's up, North Georgia? It's Friday right here. It's the Friday happy hour presented by the Pub and LJ. Thank you for being with us right here. Another end to another week right here for the Morning Rant. And what a week it's been, man. We had a live show, our first ever live show on Wednesday at the Pub and LJ, enjoying $1 wings just in time for first pitch of the Braves game at 12:15 on Wednesday, a game in which they won, and then they followed it up last night with an absolute offensive display, breaking out the whooping sticks against the D-backs last night in Arizona. 17 runs by our Atlanta Braves. How refreshing was that to see last night out west? Hey, thanks for being with us right here. Again, it is Friday, as we mentioned, right here on the program. You can always follow us on social media. Again, Sports Pig Radio on Facebook and Twitter, The Morning Rant on Instagram, and also video episodes daily on YouTube. My man John Davis, Big John, in the house today here on a Friday. Partner, we missed you on Wednesday, so we had to do a makeup day here today. We got you back here on the program today, though, man. Good to be with you.
Yeah, it's great to be here. And Wednesday, I had a very good excuse. I was out at Truist Field or Truist Park, whatever you call it, for my very first baseball game.
Wow.
I was very impressed. I had been there for a concert.
Yeah.
But I was very impressed with baseball. It was actually a very good crowd for a Wednesday.
Okay, yeah.
And we got there. We were sitting in the Chop House section. I will tell you one quick story that I haven't heard yet on the news yet. But usually in the outfielders, when they're doing catching up or warming up, before the batters come in, Acuna was throwing balls up into the stand.
Right.
And the first one came about 5 or 6 feet from me. Unfortunately, the next one went more into right field and caught a guy square.
Oh my goodness! You got to have your head on a swivel, man, when you're sitting out there.
No idea, man.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, and we all saw it.
Right.
And then I looked at the guy behind me and I said, I think there's going to be a memo in the lockers when they get out of the game. No more throwing balls in the stadium.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's always a tradition, especially at the end of an inning. You know, if an outfielder records a fly out, they usually turn around and toss the ball into the stands, to give away as many, souvenirs. But sometimes, when they throw those things up there, man, I mean, overhand to get them up there. And, if you're not paying attention, man, might get whacked. I mean, that's why they had to put up the extra fencing down the baselines over the years because of all the the foul balls hitting people and the bats going into the crowd. But it really is one of those things with baseball. It's unlike any other sport. I mean, you don't have to worry so much about a football or everybody's kind of focused on the field. But baseball is one of those sports. It's unpredictable. I mean, you never know where the ball's going to go off the crack of the bat, right? And if you're at a baseball game, man, you got to have your head on a swivel.
Well, and we had a couple of foul balls, and I can't see as it is. And I used to pride myself on saying, okay, I can do this and this.
Reflexes,
but there were like 3 or 4 foul balls that came within 15, 20 feet of me.
Yeah, right.
And I was on the other side of the net in right field. And I was like, dang. And actually a guy two rows behind me caught one barehanded.
Wow. Yeah.
And I was I never even saw the ball come. And so you're exactly right. You got to keep your head on the swivel.
You got it.
I hope that guy's okay, but they took him out. They took him out of the stadium.
Wow.
So I'm hoping he's okay.
Had to get some medical treatment right there. Hey, you're rocking the Georgia Tech shirt as always. I've got the Sports Pig hat on here today. We've had a lot of people that have actually messaged us about getting some gear, so we are working, folks, on some merchandise because, man, this Sports Pig logo, definitely something that a lot of people are latching onto. They like the colors, they like the fit, so we are going to get some more stuff produced. But what I want to ask you is why you were at Truist the other day. Did you partake in any of the new food items, the new menu items that they have there this year?
I did. Well, Hester did. She ordered a hot dog that could feed 3, and the biggest damn hot dog I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. Oh man,
I partaked in it a little bit, and it was very good. My buddy got a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
His sister got a very good looking, as boring as it is, got a very good looking Caesar salad with chicken.
Yeah, hey, that's one of my go-tos, man. Good. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was very good. The menu was very diverse. And, of course, back when, like I said, I haven't been there in a long time. But when I used to go as kids, you got popcorn, the candy
apples and different things or whatever.
Candy apples and then, hot dog here and there. Yeah. And that was it. I won't say I drank a beer back then. But, the food was great. And the whole atmosphere was unbelievable.
Right.
We came in through the Commons area and got to see some of the fans, and they were, the fans were really into it. A lot of kids were there, especially during the school year. Yeah. But sometimes that's the best time to go. Is hey kid, we're gonna take you to a game today because we're, instead of fighting 55,000, we're only going to fight 20,000.
20, right? Exactly. Yeah, and of course, spring break coming up next week for a lot of area schools. Now, again, the Braves are on the road for a couple of series here, but it's a great time. We were talking, I want to say yesterday, that the Braves do have some discount tickets and things too. By the way, for folks that are interested in maybe seeing the Braves here in the first month, I know April 13th through the 15th, that series against the Marlins, $10 tickets, $10 parking, $2.50 hot dogs, and then also on April 28th at the end of the month, they've against the Detroit Tigers, they're doing that same deal. So there are some Braves value packages and ticket deals out there, especially the first month of the season. Crowds have certainly not been a problem through the first 2 series. And so the Braves, again, looking good. But it's always a lot more fun, A, when they're scoring runs, B, when they get the dub, right? And you were there to see a pretty good one on Wednesday.
And I will say this, Dave. I don't know a lot of those players. My buddy Travis asked me, he's like, do you know anybody on here? And I'm like, well, I see Yastrzemski, so I'm going to go ahead and deduce the fact that he's probably the grandson of Carl.
You would be right. Yes.
Of course, Chris Sale and some of the Strider and some of the pitchers, Acuñas and Albies and stuff. Some of the other players I didn't recognize, but I tell you what, they were enthusiastic and they almost looked like kids out there playing.
Oh yeah.
And that's what you hope to have.
Yeah,
when you have a bunch of a team out on the field that's just they're joking with each other, they're slapping each other, and sometimes when a team gets older, you kind of take those things for granted.
Exactly. Yeah,
it was, and they played into the crowd, and it was a lot of fun.
When you get our age, everybody looks like a kid. I mean, for the most part, I think, especially if you're a major league ball player, even some of the guys that are more in the twilight of their career still seem like kids to me. But this is a Braves team that's having fun right now. They're doing a lot of things right. They're not getting the production from the guys that you would expect to get the production out of. It's been the other guys like Mateo, Dubon, those guys stepping up big last night. But everybody getting into the act last night. I mean, Ronnie did have an RBI. I know Acuna's had a little bit of a slow start. I think he's, right at $167 through the first 7 games, but I think it's only a matter of time, obviously, before he'll, get back into full swing. And pitchers are having to approach him a little different, because, right. I mean, he is such a talent. But again, we're going to talk throughout the show. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. Of course, we're going to talk about the Braves being the new North Georgia home of our Atlanta Braves. But really the big thing is we got Big John here today, and we are going to transition the talk into some spring football. You've got some Georgia Tech notes we're going to share. We talked a little bit about Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama over the last couple of days as well. We're going to talk about NFL, the draft coming up at the end of the month, some draft news, some different notes, some different strategies and things. So we're going to continue that conversation as well. A lot of things going on in the world of sports. Of course, the Masters. You and I were talking earlier in the week about the whole Tiger Woods situation and everything going on there. And again, just trying to, hopefully it's not going to take away certainly from the tournament next week. And we're going to talk a lot about the Masters again back here on Monday. We're going to break it down for you a little bit, kind of dive into some golf. We want to bring a lot of different things to the table right here. And so looking forward to next week. The Masters about to be in full swing. And of course, the Tiger Woods news certainly still looms out there.
Well, and like you said, and the previous guest, like we've said, March and April and the beginning of May really are the funnest times of the year because of all the sporting events. And, you can't discount, obviously, NASCAR, which y'all are we are a big part of broadcasting and stuff, but then you kind of end it with the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't care. I don't know anything about horses. I bet on a few. We used to have a guy, Will Wolford in Buffalo, who was big into horses.
Right.
Down in Louisville, Churchill Downs and stuff. And
sure.
He's like, look, I'm going to pick horses. Y'all just give me the money. So we're like, okay. So we'd give him money. Sometimes
goodness.
Sometimes we wouldn't.
Yeah.
But you know what? They say it's the best 2 minutes of your life or whatever.
Yeah.
But seriously, starting at about 5:00 in the afternoon until the race is over, even after the race is a lot of fun.
Oh man, it's a party. Yeah.
Circumstance.
Exactly.
Seeing the owners and the trainers that put so much into that one race.
Oh yeah.
Is just a lot of fun.
It's like NASCAR. It's amazing how much money goes into that sport. My wife grew up in Kentucky, so she's she's never missed a Kentucky Derby. I mean, on TV, but she's never been to one in person. So I told her, I said, we're going to make that happen. I mean, we're at a point now in our lives where we've got to go at least once. Right.
And I've been told by a teammate of mine at Georgia Tech, you've got to stand in the infield. Just, now I see, you'll see Thurman Thomas, Jim Kelly, all these sports stars in the boxes and stuff.
Right.
I'm not a stuffy guy.
Yeah.
Put me out with a fan.
You're a man of the people.
Well, exactly. And they have a big, 50 by 100 foot television up there.
Right.
I can watch it just as good up there as I can in the stands.
Exactly. You got to get get down there in the action. Yeah, you got to get down.
But I've always told my buddy Damien always told me, he says, if you go, you've got to do the infield.
Got to be in the infield.
So we're going to do it now that the kids are gone. Now that's going to be one of our bucket lists.
And see, that's kind of one of our things too. Now that the kids are getting grown, the last one's about to kind of be out of the house, full time, if you will. And so I told her, I said, we're going to make that happen because we've just got to. I mean, especially for somebody that grew up around that, and everything. So the Derby, horse racing season, and I love watching everything. Man, there's nothing like the Triple Crown if you've got one horse, that's been able to do it. We've had a couple, fortunately, over the last several years that have been able to do that, but typically they're far and few between. But it is kind of a changing of the guard, if you will, especially with the weather, the seasons. We always look at it from a sports calendar, and the Derby and horse racing season also right here on the horizon as well. Hey, we're up against our first break. When we come back, we will dive into some football news and again talk some spring practice. Our man Chuck Oliver will be with you at 11 o'clock here today to do the same thing as we keep the conversation going right here on Sports Pig Radio. Again, we're the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia on the Sports Pig app and online at sportspigradio.com. This is the Morning Rant right here on WPGY, the Sports Pig.
Grand Slam!
98.1 and 93.7 The Sports Pig, the official home for the Atlanta Braves baseball.
Tired of shouting your business's name into the void and getting nothing but crickets? Your brand deserves more than awkward billboard glances and flyers lining bird cages. Right now, listeners are hearing me ramble on instead of your ad. That's a touchdown for missed opportunities and a fumble for your wallet.
Recovered. Atlanta. Game over.
Your ad could be here, making fans laugh, cheer, and most importantly, call you. Go to sportspigradio.com or call 678-454-9552 and get your business off the bench and into the game.
An hour of Dave a day keeps the workday full of play. Woo-hoo! It's time for the Friday morning happy hour on the Morning Rant.
All right, back here on the program. Again, it is a Friday happy hour presented by your friends at the pub in LJ. Once again, we were there on Wednesday for our first ever live show, or on location show, if you will. The show's live every day, but on location, and had a lot of fun there hanging out with Keelan, Patrick McVeigh, of course, talking a little bit about the McVeigh boys and their, again, basketball. Jackson, of course, stand out at the University of Georgia, has hit the portal, and so it'll be interesting to see what happens right there. Of course, younger brother Preston, highly recruited as well out of Gilmer High School. Your old stomping ground there, John. And again, there's a lot of things going on. We were talking about high school athletes in the state of Georgia, and it used to be, as you know, outside of yourself, the North Georgia mountains, not historically, admittedly, a hotbed of D1 type talent. However, over the last several years, I mean, we've got a guy in Kiker, the young man that's playing at Georgia Tech, football. Yeah. We've seen Jackson, of course, on the team at UGA currently playing basketball. So you're starting to see some of these mountain kids, guys and girls, doing some pretty good things at a high level.
Some of those things are kind of generational. So happy for Patrick and his kids. Of course, I grew up with Eric, the older brother. Yeah. And know the family very well. Went to church with the grandfather and the father at Liberty Baptist. But it's nice to see those kids come up. And I enjoy it because I kind of compare it to when I was coming up and how the recruiting, and we've talked about
right, oh yeah,
and everything. But usually back then when I was playing, it was always Dalton and Gainesville, and in between there weren't many of them.
Right.
And usually what I was told with my coaches was they went to Dalton or Gainesville, and then somebody would say, "Hey, you need to go see this kid in Fannin or LJ or Jasper or Lumpkin." Yeah. And that's how we used to get found out. And in fact, the way I got found out by Alabama was we had a spring game my sophomore year, or my freshman year, right, going into my sophomore year. Okay. Alabama came over and watched a kid, Stacy Searles.
Oh, yeah.
Who went on to have a great career at Auburn, and now he's been a coach forever.
Yes.
Over at Tryon.
Yeah.
And I was told the story. It says, hell, we came over and saw Stacy, but we found out about a guy named John Davis.
There you go.
So that's kind of how I got on the map.
Right.
When a school like that, you can't keep it a secret.
You can't. Yeah. No. Yeah. Exactly.
And so once they find out, then that's when everything starts.
That's right. Yeah.
We talk about
it. And it goes to the old adage: if you're good enough, they'll find you. So again, for a lot of folks now, and we see it a lot with the transfer portal, certainly at the college level, but even at the high school level, man. I mean, there's a lot of recruiting going on. Kids are moving around, just like they would if they were transferring at the collegiate level. And so you're seeing a lot of that. But I always tell kids, look, man, there's nothing. Stay in your hometown, man. If you're good enough, you'll get discovered.
And they wanted me to go to play at Murray. They wanted me to go play at Noonan.
Right.
And you have to remember also, there weren't many 6'4", 275-pound basketball players.
Yes. Right.
That could play, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, he can play football."
Yeah.
And so, so that's how it just, developed.
Doors wide open at that point. Yeah. I love it. Hey, we were talking about golf just a minute ago in the first segment, and I know that we kind of wanted to expand on that a little bit with Tiger Woods, because I know Jack Nicklaus and some other legends, we've talked about it over the years, getting involved there, and so I kind of wanted to revisit that a little bit, because it's been since Monday since you and I talked a little bit about that. But your thoughts now. I mean, obviously there were some stories, some of the news has come out that there were certainly some things in his system, beyond alcohol, because again, he did pass the breathalyzer test. Don't want to beat a dead horse. I mean, we'll kind of turn the page next week as we get into Masters Week. But final thoughts about that, because I know you and I were talking off air a little bit about that whole situation.
Yeah, my final thoughts are good. Since I've seen some footage, walking down the road saying, "Oh, I just got off the phone with the president." I find that highly insulting and arrogant.
Yeah.
He doesn't have alcohol in his system. They are painkillers. Doesn't make a difference. I've now just decided, it's he does have a problem.
Yeah.
But the arrogance on top of it makes it that much worse. And yes. I think that's why Jack Nicklaus came out and made a comment yesterday.
Yeah.
And he says, now you're messing with the integrity of the game.
Right.
No one's bigger than the game. And that's with any sport.
Oh, yeah.
We know.
Yeah.
But Tiger's made a big mistake.
Yeah.
And I think he's hurt his brand more than he may realize.
Yeah.
He has his coach out there. He has his the advertising people out there at the car wreck site and everything. I just think he just really handled it the wrong way.
Yeah.
And it could come back and bite him in the ass, because it's not, that he just went about it the wrong way. Because I was intending on coming on today and saying, you know what, Dave, what he should do is go to the Masters and use that platform worldwide and say, you know what, I screwed up. I'm going to address it. I'm going to fix it. And we're going to move forward and make reparations and show people that I'm serious about this. But after watching the interviews from the cops and the cameras, I don't think that's going to be a big undertaking.
He definitely hasn't helped his brand at all, and it's even beyond that, because to your point, it's one thing if somebody does something and they're apologetic about it, or they're genuine about it and they say, hey, and they come out and they're transparent and they say, I messed up. But Tiger has kind of he's been one of those it's almost like narcissistic behavior. I mean, it's just very unapologetic, and to the point that it's like, hey, it wasn't my fault, or, not really wanting to take the responsibility, or at least not wanting to use the platform, to your point, to try to make, something good out of it. And so I think as defined as he's been about things, I think is what makes it worse. And honestly, it makes it hard for people to have sympathy, I think, or empathy towards Tiger because of the whole thing.
No, he threw that all the way. And for him to say, oh, I just looked at my phone for a second, if I'm not mistaken, I think Florida has the law, your hands off.
Yeah, hands free, yeah.
So
it's like Georgia,
It's just elitism, it's arrogance, and I think Jack has finally had enough.
Yeah.
And everybody's going to say, well, Jack wants to keep his record and Jack wants to do this. No, I really honestly think Jack cares about the PGA
and the integrity of the game, like you said, and
I just think Tiger, and then on top of that, unfortunately, and I know there might not be a lot of Phil Mickelson fans, he's not playing for family reasons, which we all hope everything's okay with that. And so the Masters is going to have a little bit of a different feel this year. So Monday when I come on, I might wait till Wednesday. I'll have to see what the weather's like, but I'm gonna. We have a little bet down here at my local pub, and we're going to try to pick the top 5 golfers and to see who comes up with the best scores.
Oh, there we go. I like that.
I'll bring that up probably Wednesday, because I got to wait till the weather.
Yeah, you got to get a little closer, kind of figure it out, see who's swinging the club.
Even though the par 3, and I will say this, if I pick a guy that won the par 3 concert or the par 3 contest, I have the right to pull him out. Because,
right.
They've never won the tournament. So
there we go.
I'll have an alternate.
Well, yeah, there you go. I love it. Yeah, there's a lot of betting going on next week. We'll have to run some of that through the Cooper predictor as well and see kind of what happens right there. And and speaking of, and I want to touch on it real quick, and then the back half of the show we're going to talk a lot of football because we got Big John Davis here, and I know that's what you guys want to hear him talk about. But quickly, man, March Madness, I mean, it can't be ignored. Obviously, Final Four tomorrow as we hit this Easter weekend. And by the way, we hope everyone has a wonderful Easter holiday. And if you spend time with family and all that kind of stuff, hopefully we'll have some good weather for it. But again, March Madness tomorrow, Final Four, national championship game on Monday night. When you and I come back on Monday, we'll break that down and kind of talk about the weekend a little bit and, preview the Natty there. But your thoughts, man, going into the weekend, a weekend full of sports.
I'm be ignorant. I know Arizona's in because that's my only Final Four team left.
Yeah.
I know UConn's in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I can honestly tell you I don't remember the other two teams.
Well, they're Big Ten teams, so it doesn't matter, right? I mean, it's Michigan and Illinois, so yeah. I mean, hey, who cares?
Michigan and Illinois.
Yeah, no, Michigan, Arizona, Illinois, UConn, and I don't even pay attention. My bracket's busted. I mean, right. So like I'm even barely hanging on at this point.
But that's sad. I mean, we should celebrate it, but after what UConn did to Duke, as we said last week, you can't count them out.
Yeah.
But then after you saw what Michigan did, so and I like the Illinois coach for some reason.
Oh yeah.
He looks like an old codger, and he's just one of those guys that is a grind 'em type of guy.
Oh,
so I at this point I don't care who wins because like you said, we're out.
Yeah.
And you just hope for buzzer beaters.
Right.
You hope for 3 buzzer beaters.
Oh yeah.
And you don't care who wins.
You don't care who wins.
Okay, I'll take it back. I don't want UConn to win.
Yeah. But there we go. Well, other than that, exactly. And kudos too, by the way, again, Coach Antoine Petway, the head coach, men's coach at Kennesaw State, winning a national award. I think he, Coach of the Year award honor there. So congratulations again, KSU, UGA, both making the tournament right there. And so again, March Madness this weekend, Final Four tomorrow night, and so it should be a lot of fun right here on this Easter weekend. Hey, we're up against our second break. When we come back, we will dive into some spring practice news for you. Again, the Jackets, the Dogs, the Tide, the Volunteers, everyone on the field basically right now. Spring scrimmages coming up here in the next couple weeks, and we'll talk about it next right here on the Morning Rant. We're the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia on the SportsPig app and online at sportspigradio.com.
98.1 and 93.7 The Sports Pig, where hot takes meet hot mics.
Tired of shouting your business's name into the void and getting nothing but crickets? Your brand deserves more than awkward billboard glances and flyers lining bird cages. Right now, listeners are hearing me ramble on instead of your ad. That's a touchdown for missed opportunities and a fumble for your wallet.
Recovered, Atlanta. Game over.
Your ad could be here, making fans laugh, cheer, and most importantly, call you. Go to sportspigradio.com or call 678-454-9552 and get your business off the bench and into the game.
Big opinions of the big games from the big mouths.
Man, I think it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's the Morning Rant on WPGY, the Sports Pig, North Georgia's home for ESPN Radio.
Sit down.
Back here on a Friday happy hour presented by your friends at the pub in LJ. Dave Garner back with you right here. Big John Davis till 11 o'clock this morning as we are halfway home here on a Friday, the end of another week. we hope everyone has a good Easter weekend. Again, Good Friday today. Around the country there as we celebrate Easter. And, it's always a great time of year. We were talking about golf, the Masters on the horizon next week. It's also a great time of year, too, for spring football. We're going to talk about that in just a second. I do want to just kind of give a shout out quickly. A lot of our area high schools, this is a busy time of year for high school sports. You got baseball, you got soccer, you got track, golf, tennis, you name it, across the board there. We've got some excellent high school baseball teams. We talked about North Hall the other day putting up 46 runs in a 46-0 win over Johnson High School over in Gainesville there. Pickens High School having a great year. They're ranked. Etowah, one of the nation's top-ranked teams, of course, down there in Woodstock. So, again, we do want to give a shout-out to all of our spring sports going on right now around North Georgia. A lot of things going on, and we will talk about it as we get closer to playoffs and state championships, just like we did with basketball.
And if I could say this, and I think you would agree with it, which I think is very important for our area, to all the coaches out there in our listening area, please send us in those players that are getting looks and getting opportunities to go, because we want to celebrate them.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like, Georgia does exist outside of 285. You know what I mean? So
right, yes.
When you get up north, we need to celebrate these young men and women that have an opportunity to go to the next level, because, as you know, the percentages get smaller and smaller and smaller. So if you're a coach out there, men's or women's sports, let us know so we can celebrate your kids.
Absolutely. And I did talk to Kyle McVeigh, the athletic director at North Cobb Christian, the other day, and he did let me know that, of course, their baseball team, they're having a great year. I think they've only lost like 3 games. Head coach Jimmy Keene has done a wonderful job down there. So, again, North Cobb Christian has some really good athletics. A lot of teams around our area having some great seasons. So we do, to John's point, we do want to highlight that. So feel free to interact with us on social media. Again, our Facebook page, you're welcome to direct message us on there or on Twitter. You can also interact with us on the daily right here on the Morning Rant. You can send us messages via Instagram. We're there. Of course, our YouTube page, you can go on there, like, subscribe, comment, you name it. You can also reach out to me personally as well. I'm not hard to find on social media. Speaking of, and we're going to try to prove a point right here, right now, I've got a $50 gift certificate to Las Palmas Mexican restaurant off of Cumming Highway in Macedonia out in East Cherokee County. So if you're listening to the show right now, the first person to Facebook message us, privately Facebook message the Sports Pig, again, the Sports Pig on Facebook, send us a message right now, and we're going to give away a $50 gift certificate as we get closer. The other thing we talk about with horse racing, John, it's right around Cinco de Mayo, which is also another fun time. And we're all about food right here on the Morning Rant as well. So, again, Facebook message us right now. The first one to Facebook message us on the Sports Pig is going to win $50 to, again, the Las Palmas restaurant out there, out there in Cumming Highway, out in the Macedonia area of East Cherokee County. And so there you go.
Or you could go the other direction, and that buys a lot of margaritas.
Well, I wasn't going to say that, but you're right. You're right, man.
I'm sorry if I shouldn't have said that.
No, you can use it any way you want to, man.
But remember, we have Uber and Lyft. So we're big fans of Uber and Lyft.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So again, man, I tell you what, having a lot of fun right here on this Friday happy hour edition of the show, the Morning Rant, Monday through Friday right here, 10 to 11 live on the dial. But again, you can listen to it in podcast form each and every day. We download it right to our website, sportspigradio.com. You can also listen on Spotify, Podbeam, and wherever you get your podcast. And now it's time to transition into some spring football.
911, what's your emergency?
Bold takes from the big man himself. It's Big John's Bold Take of the Week, only on the Morning Rant.
So I'm not sure if he really. I just had to hit that siren because I haven't heard that one yet. That was a new sound effect that we had right here on the show. I just kind of wanted to see what it sounded like. But again, bold takes from Big John. He's always got them. So I'm just assuming he's got one right here as we talk about spring football practice. But again, you've been following this Georgia Tech team. We talked about it a little bit earlier in the week. Guys like Hayes King, different guys, of course, moving on. So now, if you're one of the many, college teams around the country, everybody's kind of in that same boat right now, trying to figure out who is going to be there in the fall to help your team to win football games. So what's the latest out of the Flats, the Tech camp?
I got invited to come down to practice last Tuesday, the first time I had been down to the new practice facility, and I think it's been up for 15 years or longer.
Right.
Paul Johnson wasn't a very big fan of bringing in letter winners and
former players and things like that.
And Jeff Collins obviously wasn't, but Brent Key's done a great job. So the experience was very nice for me. The takeaways, as I've told you before, the spring practice is all about evaluating.
Yeah.
Probably the last week they're going to start game planning for Colorado and Tennessee.
Sure.
They have an idea who's going to play, hoping that no injuries occur. But I tell you what, the size of these kids and the running backs and the DBs and just everybody, the offensive linemen, defensive linemen, the thickness of them just really, Brent came up to me and he's like, "What do you say?" And I'm like, "Dude, I've never been able to compare these kids to anybody because we've always been a small bunch."
Right.
Even back when I played, I think our average offensive line weighed like 270, 260.
Right.
But these kids they look good. They can run, and I'm not going to pump them up because, we got a lot of time before summer practice starts and then the season. But I will say this, I had a chance to meet a young man, Keelan, from, I can't remember his last name, and I hate that, but he goes by Big Red.
Okay.
Played right guard. What a special young man.
Yeah.
Getting ready for the draft. Brent brought him over and introduced me to him. And we sat there and probably picked each other's brain, for 30, 45 minutes because, football has changed so much. He was asking me things about not only football, but he was asking me things about life. He just got married back in December. And he got this week off, and he's headed. Guess what? He's headed to Buffalo next week.
Right.
And I think he's going to Detroit or Green Bay after that.
Yeah.
But I asked him about the experience and everything, and he is. I'm not going to say he's cocky.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that he's very confident.
Right.
And I love that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because he's quietly. He quietly knows his strengths, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah,
and he's probably, he said 3 or 4. I would not be surprised if he doesn't jump into 2.
Yeah,
because he is a. I mean, I sent a note to you. I was smiling and grinning as he was shaking my hand, but I was like, "Dude, let go of my hand."
You're wincing and pain.
It doesn't feel good.
That's right. Now,
He's an old country soul, and I'm going to ask you, Dave. Is it Franklin County or is it Franklin? Is it Franklin the city up in Northeast Georgia?
There is a Franklin County. Yeah, there is.
Okay, that's where he's from. Near Tacoma.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep,
So
that's
he's
where
from
it's at.
Franklin County. The kid, you know what he wants to spend his money on? He wants to buy a farm.
Oh, wow.
And raise cows and raise livestock.
See, that's the kind of guy you want, man. That's the kind of guy you want across the front.
So in.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So
I was very impressed with him. I'm very impressed with. And Brent and I had a few minutes to talk about the quality of kids he's bringing in.
Right.
And I can say this because I went there. We're different. We're kind of like a Vanderbilt, or you look at those schools, Indiana,
with
Purdue,
the academic standards certainly there too, and everything, right? Yeah.
But this kid's like, look, I've got to get my degree. because that's what I got to fall back on. And I mean, he said all the right things.
Yeah.
And he, Brent walked up and he says, "I'm going to let y'all duke it out to who y'all think's the best lineman ever to come out of Georgia Tech." And I'm like, dude, I'm walking away if that's the case. Because,
I love it.
But he's a good-looking kid. He's got his head on his shoulders. I look forward to following him. I look forward to becoming better friends with him and following his career. But I'm even hearing, rumors with Haynes maybe a second or third round pick just because of his knowledge.
Well, yeah, and athleticism. Certainly, but
wrongfully so. But I always questioned his arm strength.
Right.
But I also didn't know the kid played hurt the whole time.
Yeah. A lot of things that people don't know behind the scenes that are going on too. In that locker room. So
you would think that you could see that, but his knowledge of growing up in a football family, I think Haynes has a chance to have. I'm not going to say he's going to be a starter right off, but you know what? As you and I talked about, there's nothing wrong with being a backup. And the money's good. And when Keelan told me what they're making as backups, I just almost threw up.
Wow,
I was just like, okay, Keelan, you know what a backup made when I played? $30,000.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
It's 100 times that.
You definitely have piqued my curiosity with Keelan Rutledge, Big Red there. I'll definitely be keeping my eye on him.
I'm sorry, Keelan Rutledge.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
he's going to be fun to watch because you know what? He's a nice kid. But I can tell by his demeanor when he gets on the football field, they just throw that out the door.
Right.
I can tell he's going to be a mean SOB. I can tell he's going to run over some people.
Right. And, absolutely.
And coaches look at that.
Oh, they do.
Coaches, believe it or not, they will forgive some things.
Right.
But when they see your motor and they see what you do 5, 6, 7 seconds after the play, that kind of makes an offensive line coach happy.
Right. Oh, yeah, absolutely. The guy, I was reading some notes about Keelan, 28 reps during the team's pro day there, a guy that came back. He'd been in a car accident, I guess, a couple years ago, came back from it. It's actually a really good story. So certainly a bounce-back guy and a guy that's going to be, certainly a cornerstone up front this year for Georgia Tech. And so looking forward to seeing him out there. Jackets spring game slated for April 18th, which is a couple of weekends from now. And getting into spring practice is awesome. And, that is the one thing that you and I have talked about away from the radio is the fact that, for all the success that, Paul Johnson had, for all the success that some of the coaches have had, they haven't all necessarily embraced the former players and different people. It's not that they didn't want them around. It's just that that's just wasn't their personality to reach out. But it does sound like now you've got a guy in Brent Key, that is a Tech guy very much and understands the history and understands the deep tradition and some of the folks that have come through there. And so,
sorry,
you're good.
To that point, we played there.
Yeah.
So Brent values that.
Right.
I'm not going to make this a blanket statement, but some coaches feel threatened when an alumni come back. Some coaches embrace it. Miami embraces their players. Georgia embraces their players. Some coaches don't want the alumni coming back because they feel like they're overlooking their shoulder, which is not the case because we are the greatest recruiting tool for these kids.
100%.
Especially my age group.
Oh, yeah.
Because we some of us played the NFL, and then we go into the business world. Yeah. Now we're retired for whatever reason, hopefully success. But, in my case, it's injuries. And the kids want to know that. I mean, Keelan was just peppering me with questions the whole time. And I was like thinking, damn, I've never had anybody interact with me like he has.
Especially a young guy.
I was loving it.
That's awesome.
I want to have him to the house for a steak and a beer. He was even asking me about married life.
Wow. Okay, there we go. I love it. I love it. This is a kid. He's obviously got a good head on him. Yeah, right. Yeah, most of them don't. Yeah. Shows a lot of his maturity. Yeah.
I know we got to go, but he's a special young man.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Again, a lot of great kids. I mean, that's the thing when you look at a lot of these teams, you see an element of character, faith, a lot of different things that play into these teams right here. And you always hear the 5 or 10% bad, but for every 10%, there's 90% good, and these kids all have good heads on their shoulders there. But to your point, too, and we are up against our final break, no matter what you think about Michael Irvin, I mean, him being down the sideline at Miami, that's only got to help the recruiting to have players like that to come back and be vocal and be seen on the sideline and all that. So, again, hopefully Key will embrace that.
2 years ago when Miami came to Georgia Tech and we won at the end of the game, he was on the sideline and he was standing out in the stadium signing autographs. And they're like, "You want to?" I'm like, "Why in the hell do I want his autograph? He beat me 2 years in the Super Bowl." I just kept walking by. So I went on X and I said, "Hey, Michael," I said, "I'm sitting right up in a box right behind you. If you want to come visit me and watch the game, you're more than welcome to."
Really? Yeah.
Not sure he really appreciated that, but I tried.
That's awesome. I love it. Again, memory lane. We didn't roll the open, but that's our memory lane with the refrigerator mover right here in this third segment. Hey, we are at our final break right here. When we come back, we'll transition into some NFL talk, the draft coming up, all that and more straight ahead on this Friday happy hour edition of the Morning Rant, brought to you by our friends at the Pub in Ellijay. We're the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia on the Sports Big app and online at sportspigradio.com.
98.1 and 93.7 The Sports Pig, your official home for Georgia Bulldogs basketball.
My goodness.
Tired of shouting your business's name into the void and getting nothing but crickets? Your brand deserves more than awkward billboard glances and flyers lining bird cages. Right now, listeners are hearing me ramble on instead of your ad. That's a touchdown for missed opportunities and a fumble for your wallet.
Loose, recovered, Atlanta, game over.
Your ad could be here, making fans laugh, cheer, and most importantly, call you. Go to sportspigradio.com or call 678-454-9552 and get your business off the bench and into the game.
We bring the heat. You bring the trash talk.
Come on, man. Are you serious?
It's the Morning Rant, live on the Sports Pig app and sportspigradio.com.
Back here for the final segment of the program today. Dave Garner with you. Big John Davis in here as well till the top of the hour. Chuck Oliver again with Southern Sports Today. The king of college football is up next. He'll break down some spring practice for you as well. John and I were just talking about Georgia Tech before the break there, and now we're kind of transitioning to the next level, that being the NFL. Obviously, the draft coming up at the end of the month. We were talking a little strategy earlier in the week. First off, what do you make Kirk Cousins, by the way, signing with the Raiders, and between he and people. There's some memes out there. It's kind of funny. They're basically saying that Kirk Cousins is like an older version, or I guess Fernando Mendoza is a younger version, personality-wise, of Kirk Cousins, and they even kind of favor each other a little bit in the face. So there's some memes out there where they've kind of like pushed their faces together, and I'm like, man, they do kind of look a little bit alike, to be honest with you. But again, two very similar personalities going out to Las Vegas. I mean, that's going to be interesting.
Can you imagine, Dave, you getting paid $9 million to teach me how to be on the radio? Because that's basically what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, he's getting now. He got that. What was it, $70 million or something like that?
Oh yeah.
And we know it all is backloaded.
Right.
But can you imagine getting? I think he's getting like $8.7 or $9 million.
I think
to go out there and probably start the first 2 or 3 games.
Yeah.
Because we probably know how that's going to go.
Right. Yeah.
Because the NFL is a lot different than college football. Is that it's harder to build quicker in the NFL than it is in college.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But he's going to get that money to be basically an on-field coach. God bless him.
Right. Hey, $20 million guaranteed. I mean, I
want to be mad, but I can't be.
Right. I mean, good for him.
That's what I wanted to do. My 9th year, I wanted to go in and say, hey, I'll be a sideline coach and be a backup.
Right.
And they were like, no, you're getting paid too much. And I'm like, I'm not as valuable as a quarterback. But it's amazing. But I will tell you this, we had talked about earlier about all the mock drafts that are going on. You got NFL, you got CBS, you got Mel Kiper.
Yeah.
You got everybody.
Right.
Orlovsky, you've got everybody that thinks they're, most of them think they're an expert.
Exactly.
But I went on X, and they have their AI Grok.
Right, yeah, which is a popular platform.
I said, give me your predicted draft.
Yeah.
And which I thought was smart because they only came up with the first 5 picks because we're still about a month away.
Right.
And sure enough, they've got Mendoza going to the Raiders.
Yep.
Arvell Reese from Ohio State going to the Jets, which is defense.
Yep.
I don't know his last name, Mango, but he's the linebacker from Ohio State going to Arizona.
Right. Yeah.
And then the Love kid running back
Jeremiah.
from Notre Dame's going to the Titans, which is a good fit.
Yeah, obviously. And a lot of people really like him. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then the Giants are taking Sonny Styles, which is another edge linebacker from Ohio State. Ohio State's loaded.
Yeah.
Everybody thought Ohio State was loaded on the offensive side.
Yeah.
That ain't the case.
Well, and you got Caleb Downs.
You got to scratch your head. Why in the hell didn't they win the national championship?
Well, I think a lot of people thought they were going to, but then, it just didn't work out that way because of Indiana. I mean, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. So, but the draft, going through and they brought up the draft strengths, which I could kind of agree with this year's the deep edge and linebackers, the outside ends,
right.
The Bruce Smiths, the Reggie White type guys, your linebackers. And then you've got the wide receivers and the running backs are solid in there. Of course, nobody wants to pay any money for running backs because of their life expectancy.
It's the position. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's just changed a lot.
Yeah. And so for you to be a first rounder, I think in today's times is pretty unique because you're special.
Yeah, that's like Bijan or whoever.
They say they've got some tackles out there that are in the decent category. Keelan, I think Keelan's smart enough, and he understands enough to know he's not going to get blinded by all the talk out there.
Exactly.
He pretty much is grounded on when he's going to go, and I just think I think it's going to be, and I could be wrong, and we're going to come back and laugh about it, but I just think it's going to be more of a defensive heavy first round unless you have a run. And I've noticed this in the past. If you have a run on offensive linemen, then that kind of, especially in the 8 to 15 range.
Right.
Tackles are a premium, especially left tackles, as you know, and I've, alluded to quite often with my days with Bruce Smith. But tackles are a premium. Guards and centers can interchange.
Right.
Tackles,
you see a lot of that.
Aren't interchange as much. I mean, and it's obviously it's going to change, and I'll probably bring something every week in this. But I and Grok, they went on and said it's NFL Yahoo, Mel Kiper. They did I think they combined about 7 or 8
different ones.
Experts.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see when I pull this up next Wednesday before we come on what it looks like.
Well, and it's one of those things where you near draft day, teams start making moves. I mean, obviously, there's going to be somebody moving up, somebody moving back. I mean, and a lot of it's going to be based on needs. I mean, they were talking the other day about, do you take a, Jeremiah Love versus Caleb Downs, which one? Well, a lot of it's going to depend on needs. I mean, if you don't need a running back, if you're the Falcons, you've got Bijan Robinson who you're going to have to pay. You just brought in Brian Robinson. You're probably not going to, you're going to pass. You would, they're not picking that high anyway, but they would pass, hypothetically on a guy like Jeremiah Love, but you could certainly use some help in the back end. Yeah, because we talked about that on Monday, like these teams that always say, or maybe it's last week, but we talked about, teams that say, well, it doesn't matter who it is, we're going to pick the best athlete on the board or the best overall player first. You and I weren't buying that, though. I maybe there are some teams that do have that as their strategy. Everybody's a little different. But again, I think you certainly have to draft for needs because really, to me, in the first 2 rounds, I mean, you're looking to draft a starter. I mean, you're looking for a guy, especially a first-round pick, that can come in and make an immediate impact on your football team.
Right. Yeah, and that you're exactly right. That's why I think the draft should be 2 or 3 rounds. and then let the kids go on free agency and let the teams fight out for these kids, because it's beneficial for the teams.
Right.
But it's also beneficial for the players to make a little bit more money.
Right.
I have switched. I want these kids to make money. I'm over my bitter stage of being a year or two out of making any money. And look, I was blessed, but the money today is ridiculous.
Right.
And but you talk to somebody like Keelan, and he's like, dude, I just want to buy a farm.
Yeah.
I want a pickup truck and a farm.
I just want to make enough. Yeah.
God bless you, son.
Right.
I think this is the greatest thing in the world. And
I love it.
And also, Dave, as we look in the next few weeks, I'm not going to say it out loud, but things seem to get a little bit tighter as you get closer to draft day.
Oh, yeah.
Because it starts to get real.
Right.
Right now they're serious, but it's kind of, you're playing with monopoly money.
Yeah.
But once you get closer, because you don't know what's going to happen with a player that's working out, that's on the team, might get hurt.
Right. You never know. The dynamics always change. Yeah.
One thing I want to tell people out there before we leave is that the most trouble NFL players get in are the time after the season to the draft.
Yeah.
And a week or two before training camp. So
right.
Keep your ears open.
I was going to say, man.
Something's always going to happen. And I get these updates every day from the NFL Players Association, the Retired Players Association. So, keep that in the back of your mind. So there's a lot of things that can change. And I'm sure yours and I opinions are going to change a lot too.
I'm sure they are. That no doubt about that. And, you have a team like we were talking about with the Atlanta Falcons, or even the, Buffalo Bills with a new head coach, obviously Brady being promoted, where, these teams want to put their stamp on things. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see a team try to be aggressive and move up like the Falcons, since they don't have a first-round pick. I'm not sure they have enough draft capital to do that and just sort of get up into the first round, but it'll be interesting, man. There's always a move or two that's kind of unexpected, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, I mean, it'll be fun to keep your, go on ESPN and look at the NFL, and you'll see that news every day, And of course, I get updates every day from the NFL, so it's interesting I think it's the more fun. Now that I'm with you, I'm paying more attention. You're making me pay more attention.
That's the good part. You're invested in it now because, man, you're hosting a radio show now.
And I didn't want to be invested, but you're making me. So I'm enjoying being able to go in there and knowledging it up a little bit.
There we go. I love it, man. We're out of time on this week's show. Thanks, Big John, for bringing it, as always, right here on this Friday edition of the Morning Rant, partner. Thank you. There we go. Yep, he's got the Georgia Tech clean old-fashioned hate shirt on. Hey, we appreciate you guys being with us Monday through Friday right here on the program. Again, follow us on social media. Again, the Sports Pig and Sports Pig Radio on Facebook and Twitter. Also, the Morning Rant on Instagram, and, of course, daily episodes on YouTube. As we always say, if you don't know, you better ask somebody. We'll see you Monday. Chuck Oliver next with Southern Sports Today right here on SportsPigRadio.com.
98.1 and 93.7 The Sports Pig, your official home for flag-to-flag coverage of NASCAR.